Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fun with Dumb. We've been on a 2-week hiatus. I've been busy with some travels, and it's been hard to squeeze in some episodes, but thank you guys for being patient, and I hope we haven't lost any listeners in those past 2 weeks because the audience is very fickle nowadays. Right here, I'm joined with two guests that I've actually saw during my travels, have been good friends of mine in residing in Seoul, Korea. And actually probably some of my longest friends who've lived out there, and they're from the States as well, like many of Korean Americans who've moved out there and kind of started their own thing out there, brands, musicians, you know, and whatnot. These are two brothers who started a business, a streetwear line called IISE, IISE, and they originally started with bags.
Start off as bags.
That's where we met, actually.
Yeah, started as bags. A huge fanny pack line, I believe. No, I'm fucking with you. It was a like backpacks, duffel bags,
goods,
all that.
like that, yeah.
And the theme of these backpacks were that you would use traditional Korean fabrics,
Yeah,
techniques.
like natural dyeing techniques.
natural
like that.
techniques and fabrics. And I remember, like, at the time, it was I just found that really dope. And I went there, met you guys, and we actually had an interview like this almost like 10 years ago and shit.
That was like the first time we met was an interview.
Yeah, hold on,
We didn't even
yeah.
like chop it up before that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And like it was dope. And then you guys now, after all these years, have expanded into just all around clothing.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
T-shirts, pants, cut and sew,
Everything,
jackets, hats,
Mhm.
underwear, you know.
Not yet, but
Fleshlights, no. Yeah, man, we got Terrence and Kevin Kim over here.
what's up,
What's up,
man?
man?
Thanks for having us, yo.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
bro.
We just said that in unison right now.
Yeah.
Mad
Yeah, don't be
That's
so
gonna happen a lot throughout the interview. We always talk at the same time.
Yeah, don't
but
be so formal. Like, we
Yeah.
don't
I know,
talk
yeah, I know.
ratchet like
I know,
off
I
the
know.
mic. You know what I
Right.
mean? But yeah, man. So just quick brief history on IISE. What does IISE stand for?
So you said pretty much it's a Korean word that stands for second generation, and it's like a menswear brand that draws influences from like different parts of Korean and also American culture. So a lot of what we make and put out is kind of like a reflection of our identity pretty much as Korean Americans, and you'll see that in the design, like, you know, our media that we put out, our shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of little subtleties in a lot in the cut and sew.
Mhm.
You just, like, as a Korean American, and you know, being around relatives and people from Korea, like, you recognize little things that I'm like, oh, I recognize this like thing on the
Little
shirt
detail.
or like
Yeah.
a jacket on
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
on the detail. Like, well, this smells like my honey. Okay. Yeah. No, but what's you? I met you guys. What I would say it's almost been 10 years or so.
No, I don't think. I think it
Oh,
was
it's been like-
2012, maybe around there.
Oh, okay. So
2013.
okay, maybe like 6-7 years.
Yeah, because
or
we've been
at least.
living in Seoul for like 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
And you guys immediately, when you went out there, you started the brand, or you started it out here?
No, so we both graduated uni and we moved to China, right? And
Mhm.
then from China we visited Korea on vacation, and while we were there we happened to meet like this older designer guy, and he kind of like showed us the ropes on, like, you know, some fashion stuff, and then like we decided to make a couple samples together, and then he was like, yo, just move to Korea and like we can start a brand together or whatever. So we like went to we went back and forth between China and Korea for like that summer, and we finally moved to Korea. And then when we got there, the dude's like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. So we kind
What
of just
the fuck?
moved to the country for like no reason, and then like with no
Yeah.
experience, like we didn't know anybody, we don't speak Korean.
Was
like,
that kind
no
of scary
money,
at the
like-
time, or what? When that
yeah,
happened?
it was. We were just like, we're fucked, you know. But then I think because we were young, it was a blessing. We were like naive to a lot of things, and we were like no fear, you know, at that age. So we're like, and we're coming with that attitude, like, all right, fuck it, we'll just like do it on our own, you know, which
Yeah.
was a blessing in disguise because that's how IISE started.
You're
you know?
like, this is a shitty situation, but I was already in a shitty situation.
yeah, kind of like that. And like
Yeah.
when you're young, you don't really know like what to be afraid of yet
Mm-hmm.
in terms of starting a business or moving to a new country. It's just like exciting at that time, you know. And we're just like in Korea for the first time too. So yeah, that's how we started.
And
IISE,
what at that time, was it already like something that was the theme you guys wanted to go towards, the Korean?
Yeah, because like, you know, just like you, like growing up here, we don't see a lot of Korean stuff, you know, only like the food pretty much, right? And then
Yeah.
like when we went to Korea for the first time, we're like seeing, you know, Korean design, architecture, like fabrics, like all this stuff we never saw as kids, you know. So that for us kind of like made us like proud of our culture for the first time in a real way, you know?
I feel like that's cool though, because not everybody has that same feeling when they go back to their motherland.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they're not
yeah.
like, this is cool. Like
We
we're
were, like,
older
blown away.
now. Like
Yeah.
we're older now, so
Right.
I feel like we appreciate it. But it's not
Yeah.
like when you're a kid and you go to the Korea every summer. You're like, I gotta go to Korea,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
catch dragonflies or whatever the fuck. I don't know why that's my like thought of what Korea is when you go visit in the summer. You're catching dragonflies with nets and shit. I think I saw it in a picture book somewhere. But yeah, I mean, but when you went for the first time, you actually dug it. Like you liked
Yeah,
what
it
you
was,
saw.
it was crazy, yeah.
And it was so different because I think like growing up, a lot of our Koreanness we were kind of like hiding.
Yeah.
You know, like whether it be like the Korean food we eat in front of our homies or like any like Korean stuff. It was kind of embarrassing.
Right,
you
right,
know?
yeah, of course.
But yeah, when we got to Seoul and we were seeing all this architecture, design, all that stuff, yeah, it was just so dope. We wanted to kind of incorporate that into our brand and kind of showcase that side of the Korean culture to not only like our homies back in the States, but like people all over the world, you know. So that's kind of what the brand concept became for IISE.
And then why was it bags originally? Like specifically
like
bags.
real talk, like we didn't know, we have no fashion background, you know.
Yeah.
Like we like when we thought of clothes, like we wanted to make clothes, just the idea of that, but like we have no idea how to do that. We don't know how to design. We don't know how to like do any samples. So we're like, our clothing has multiple sizes, so that's
Right.
probably really complicated. So let's just start off with bags and just do like a small line, and we'll start from there. So it's
Right.
just like just because we didn't know how to do anything.
Yeah, convenience.
Mm.
One size.
convenience,
It can be unisex. It
Right.
can be worn all year. There's no seasons
yeah.
really.
Oh, that's a good point.
yeah, so it was just easier to launch the brand with bags.
Accessories,
pretty much.
right.
Yeah, and there was I you know, and this was, you're dealing with like pretty expensive materials.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean. That's
Right,
why I
right.
was like surprised, because I know it's like something new and you guys are new to it, with no experience, and that's pretty risky to
For sure.
messing with pretty.
And that's the whole thing about us being young and not knowing anything, because at the time we didn't know what was expensive.
Right,
And now
right.
we're like, all right, this is tight, we'll just use it. We didn't know how to compare it to something that was cheap or whatever. Like obviously now we have a great idea of like how to like price things and costs and all that kind of stuff. But at the time we're just gonna make the thing that is the dopest to us. So like, and it turned out to be mad expensive. But like,
yeah, right.
yeah.
No,
So-
but you remember our first bag samples? We
Yeah.
actually used cheaper materials, and when we got the first sample back,
Yeah,
we
we're hella
were
disappointed.
embarrassed. Like, we can't put this out
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
world. Like,
Yeah.
we're out here in Korea, like all our friends and family know we're starting this
Yeah,
brand,
right.
and we can't put out a product like this. So we scrapped that, and then we started using like the best leathers, like the best natural dyed fabric. And then when that sample came out, we're like, okay, this is dope. This is
Yeah,
something we can be proud
Well,
of,
I know you guys were kind of learning the techniques as you guys were going, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you guys were
100%.
like doing more and more research. Like, is there something about the techniques you learned and that was like kind of surprising to you, or was like, oh, this shit is a lot harder than I thought? Or
Yeah, everything was hard, I think, in the beginning, right? Because you're like learning from scratch, like literally everything about starting a fashion brand, and like on top of that, you're learning more about Korean culture. And for us, it's like we're navigating through like a new country. We don't speak the language. Like there's a huge cultural disparity with like, being from America too. Because we had this conversation too, like Korean Americans or Asian Americans or any like immigrants or whatever. Like growing up in America, like people identify you as like we're Korean, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like yeah, I'm Korean. But then when you go to Korea, you're like realize that you're not Korean at all. Like you're American, you know. So there's this weird like cultural identity thing that like we had to deal with going over there and like learning like all the differences and how to like maneuver like in like a new place. So
right.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with like a pretty traditional section of Korea, because these are techniques that are done by like Hanmanis and Harabatis, like grandparents.
yeah, right.
You
Which
know-
is tight though.
Yeah,
Because,
and
like,
were they kind of surprised that you were wanting to kind of take on these techniques, or?
they were like, you know what, like all these old like traditional Korean stuff, right? Like the younger kids aren't learning that at all. They have no interest in it, you know.
Right, that's actually a good point.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to say that, like, you know, me and we know about this place. We know about this like shop that has like pop culture, contemporary stuff from like, you know,
Yeah, your spot.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's a vintage like toy and collectible spot
yeah.
from like Korea in 1970s to like 90s.
Yeah.
But I realized there isn't a lot of that in Korea, because Korea really loves like old shit, and or just they just think forward.
Word.
Yeah,
There's,
right.
like,
that transition period is a
Yeah,
little bit.
they don't like
I mean,
collecting shit, like
yeah.
really, you know, unless it's like calligraphy paintbrushes and vases and shit. No, I'm just saying, it's like they don't have that. They don't have a lot of places that archive that section of history.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I can
You
see
know,
that. Right.
And I think that's kind of what you were saying right now, because you know,
Yeah.
a lot of these kids, even the Korean kids there, when you talk to them and you tell them about the shop, they're like, whoa, what the fuck? I didn't even know
Right.
things like this exist.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of, they were like, when we worked with like the older generation on like dyeing or like fabrics or whatever, like they were like, who are these young dudes who don't speak Korean like interested in this? So that made them want to help us more, you know. So they really like, you know, the Korean thing where they like take care of you, 챙겨 you, like, you know, buy you food, all that. So they were like more willing to like show us the ropes because we were young and interested in something that no one else really was from our generation at the time, you know.
I think old people just really love that shit. When
They
you
do.
take
I mean,
an
yeah,
interest,
we come by, yeah, we
For
bring a
sure.
new perspective, energy to something, and yeah. But it's kind of scary because like a lot of these old things about Korean traditional culture, like since a lot of the youth are not like looking
Picking it
into
up,
it,
yeah.
like 20, 30 years from now, when that generation moves on, it's like, what happens to these, you know?
do you see?
these things?
I mean, is that happening though? I feel like you guys and other artists are kind of leading the way and being historians to some of this stuff, you know, because
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, like DJ Soulscape, right?
Right.
He's like one of the you know DJs, OG DJs for the last like 15 years or so in Seoul subculture history, where he's been taking old Korean records,
Right.
you know, disco, soul,
Super dope.
funk, Korean funk, like from 70s
Yeah,
to
yeah,
80s, and reintroducing it. He's even thrown shows where he found some of these artists and like
Oh,
had
right.
them perform live and
crazy,
stuff, you know. So I'm saying I feel like you guys kind of do a version of that with the clothing side, you know, and he does that with the music side, because you guys are kind of remixing old shit.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much.
That's
yeah.
pretty much like what we've been doing, but
But still, it's
like
such a small
like,
scale.
it's just like, you know,
That's
it's
true.
so
That is
small.
true.
Like,
Yeah.
Especially
even,
in
like, just
fashion.
when we go out in Korea, right? Like we're always eating like these local halmini jips, you know, like the best spots.
Yeah.
Like what's gonna happen to all those like dope restaurants, you know, in like 10, 20 years? So
That's
always
true.
like, dude, it's gonna suck.
Because there's huge trends. I feel like people still love Western foods. there.
100%. Western
Yeah.
culture in general, you know,
yeah,
whether
yeah,
it be
in
fashion,
Asia, all
like,
over,
you know,
right?
like,
It's not just Korea. Yeah.
I do think that it's sad because there's a lot of great exports that get overshadowed, you know. And I mean, obviously, K-pop is one of the hugest export out of Korean, but it does overshadow a lot of things in
Yeah,
Korea. You know?
I mean, K-pop was like the main export.
first export, yeah.
That was like really government supported too. You know what I mean? Like the government
That's
was
true.
putting money into the arts now. But even in Korea, like, with fashion, the government is supporting fashion a lot right now too.
Really?
So
Yeah.
there's so much
because
like, money there.
they're thriving, right? Like
They're
fashion.
thriving, and they know, like, you know, Seoul in the global context of fashion, like there's some energy there right now. You know, Seoul Fashion Week's being covered a lot more. There's a lot more Korean brands doing international things now. So like, I think the government like actually like, which is dope for a conservative government to actually be pushing the arts. You know, that which is kind of rare. Because when I go to other countries like the States or even Europe, whatever, like there's no government programs like giving fashion grants to
Yeah.
like young designers. or
That's
nothing
true.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So,
it's like,
far as in Asia, it's kind of leading the way. You think in the arts and stuff?
I
or-
mean, I think Seoul.
I feel it's the only
yeah,
country that
and culturally, it's
Yeah.
like the most influential in Asia, is it not? Like,
yeah. I mean, even in
K-pop,
film,
the
like
fashion,
Bong Joon-ho is about to be
Yeah, he's
like
killing it.
he's going to be the first South Korean film nominated for the Oscars for
For,
Parasite.
Parasite, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, we
it's
saw
that-
it together.
Yeah,
So,
isn't that crazy? I mean, we didn't bootleg it or anything, of course. No, but isn't that crazy? It's gonna be the first ever South Korean film nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, he deserves that.
Yeah,
man.
it's
That
a
movie's
sick
crazy.
film.
I mean,
man.
I'm kind of calling it early, but you know, I mean,
Oh,
it was
that's
already
not
the
official.
first. Yeah, it's not
It's not
official.
official.
But I mean, people are saying it is because it
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
highest prize in Cannes. And
Right,
you
right,
know.
right. Yeah.
But I mean,
The tide's turning, man, for sure.
yeah. I mean, and it's crazy though, because when I went to Korea 7 years ago or so, met you guys, it's changed a lot. I've gone
For
every
sure.
year
Yeah.
since then, and the
Yeah.
Korean scene has changed a lot. And now, when you guys were first starting the brand, there wasn't that many brands. There was a handful that are still that kind of came along with you guys and it still exists, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's like I remember Mischief was one,
Yeah, Mischief was starting out then too.
which is an girl streetwear
Streetwear
brand.
brand, right? Like LIFO was around, but LIFO's been doing it for like 10 plus years
Yeah.
now. Buried Alive, that was around too at the time. He's
Are
like
they
an
are they
OG.
still around or?
I think they're I don't think they're around anymore. But,
okay.
But yeah, like there definitely were brands back then too. But then there's
Yeah.
way more now.
Yeah,
way
yeah.
Way more.
And
Now-
not only in streetwear, but like
This is never that.
This is Never
It's-
That, yeah.
is killing
Killing
it.
it right
killing it.
now.
And these are all like literally streetwear brands. Like you might not have heard some of these brands because you know you might find them in selected stores in New York and LA
Yeah,
and
right,
big
right.
cities. But
they don't really expand that much like outside of
right,
Korea. Yeah.
right. But it's crazy that this is like a full on separate streetwear brand. You know, like this is like Korea's version of whatever out here. Hundreds
Yeah.
and this or whatnot.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so for you guys, I've seen some of your stuff now in like American boutique shops.
Yeah.
Like has it been a goal to be like global, take that Korean traditional, fabrics and theme and kind of take it globally? Was that always kind of?
I think we started global because
Yeah.
like real talk, when we were trying to like push our collection and like market it, like we had no access to domestic Korean, distribution, because we didn't know how to communicate with the Korean consumer at the time. So we're like, all right, let's just make it here and like sell it in America first.
Right.
Because we had access, we could communicate, we could email these people, and it would just be easier that way.
Oh, so you were reaching out to America first.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
100%.
even
From-
all our
yeah.
friends, like the only connects we had in the fashion game, they were all stateside. So
Yeah,
those
right.
are the first people we reached
yeah,
out
so
to,
we started
you know.
off mostly in America. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we did.
And even till now, like the US is still like our biggest market, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys I've put in the work there. Do you feel like you've kind of tapped into what you can out there, like at this point, like reached a kind of ceiling over there? Or?
Nah, I mean, in terms of like sales and distribution, no, because like Korea is a huge market, like not relative to like China or whatever, but yeah, there's a lot of people in Korea, so that's something like we're working on now. But I think, like, we told you like we're moving out to back to America now and like expanding our office and stuff
Right.
like that. So like I think we've spent, we're not gonna leave Korea completely, like we're gonna do half and half, like, so I think it's a good balance. But for us as a brand, like, and personally, I think coming to America, back to America, is going to be better for us, as just to like network more and like kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna talk to you about that. I mean, okay, like let's like kind of leave the whole business side of things
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
bit,
right.
but
Yeah.
like I think just living out there,
Yeah.
moving out there and living there for this long, would you say your experience has been just very positive for the most
Dude,
part?
amazing.
It changed our life,
Yeah,
you know.
dude,
Like
living in Asia's so hot right now. Like,
Yeah.
they're saying every aspect. Like, obviously, it was like really difficult for us in the beginning, but then like after 7 years now living, it's like it's awesome out there. It's like so fun. And when you guys visit, you guys have a great time in Korea. You guys see everything that's happening.
Dom loves Korea.
Dom loves Korea. It's great. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, and then there's like an international presence there. I feel like, right?
For sure.
Yeah, like more and more every year. It's crazy. Yeah.
And it's when you go out, because I feel like when I meet with you guys and we, we just talk. It's like you guys haven't missed a step in like the American like nuances and the wit and all that,
Yeah,
Because I swear, like when I was like, I told our friend Danny, who's lived out there for the last 2 years,
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna be a complete fob in a year, you know what I mean? But like we'd be joking around, and he stays on his toes with the jokes, and I'm like, okay, you're still.
Well, honestly, that depends on like what kind of culture you really dive deep into while you're living there, Because there's some people who move to Korea and they're like very deep within like hanging out with like the locals and doing all that. But then there's so much like other stuff to do while you're in Korea, like internationally too. So you can always stay relevant with the internet and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, but you guys have your regular spots,
Yeah, we do.
yeah. But it's like you go to Korea and like you're shut off from the rest of the world. You
Yeah.
just come back, you're like mad Korean all of a sudden.
How do you feel? Because we were talking about you guys are about to like move back, and it's been so long.
Yeah.
Like, is it
10 years now, yeah.
Scary or what?
It's not scary. I mean, we
It's
really
familiar. Everything's
Yeah.
familiar. It's like coming back home. It's just like it's
Yeah, but
easy.
I mean, you guys like one of the places. I mean, not one of the places. You guys are considering moving back to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And
Right.
in the last couple of days, you guys have kind of explored and see what it might be like.
Yeah.
And how was it feel?
LA's dope. Yeah, I mean, like
It's just so different,
Every
man.
time I'm here, like
Yeah.
I like it more. Like, but we're like, we like the city. We like New York. Like we like metropolitan
City boys,
cities,
like
walking
Seoul,
around
you
and
know.
stuff like that. But like LA's like this has been my best LA trip so far. I think.
Yeah. So Seoul is Seoul closer to New York or LA? I don't know.
LA, closer to LA.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
close to LA. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's West Coast going.
I always thought like Busan would be LA and like Seoul would be New York.
Oh,
That's a
you're
good-
talking about
oh, yeah,
that.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you're talking
yeah.
about like distance.
No.
Okay,
I'm not
I
talking
got
about
you.
this.
Yeah,
I'm talking
yeah.
about vibe.
No,
Like
I think-
Busan is definitely more LA, and Seoul
or
is
is
definitely
Busan
more.
SF? I don't. No. Busan is LA. I don't know.
If you had to, like, there's like no similarity other than there's beaches, but like,
Yeah.
I guess if you have to compare Busan and Seoul, it's like New York. Yeah.
Seoul is like, I guess you can compare each section of Seoul to a different city, maybe.
Yeah, Seoul's
like
huge.
Itaewon
Yeah.
to like Hongdae.
Dude, that's how LA feels, It's all spread out in different pockets, like the
Yeah.
same way that Seoul is, like,
Yeah.
You don't see that? Like, no?
Yeah, that's true. So Koreatown is Seoul.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna just talking about your brand, you know,
Yeah.
and like how far it's come, because I've seen it come pretty far from the beginning
Yeah,
stages.
you're at the beginning.
Yeah. What are you? So if it's like bags to clothing, is there like another sector that you guys would want to expand into?
Footwear is probably next.
Ooh, footwear.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
I mean, pretty much everything. Even when we had this idea, yeah, we started with bags, but we always imagined this brand to make everything from clothing to furniture to stationery to kitchenware to, I don't know, F&B maybe later. Like, we feel like we could apply this concept to like multiple product categories, you know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what would Korean kitchenware entail?
I mean, that's gonna be weird. We haven't thought about that yet, but
yeah,
but we made like
but-
tables that
yeah.
are
or like
our
footwear.
life fixtures.
Footwear is actually interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like that's a new conversation for us right now that we've been having. Like, so,
Like Sirepa.
like little slipper, like what are those things called? Like those old school.
yeah, we have some ideas.
have some
Yeah,
ideas.
we're working on stuff.
Joint with the
That's like the oldest school.
The
yeah,
canoe
yeah,
joint?
Yeah, the canoe thing. Yeah, that's like the oldest Korean shoe. But
That's
yeah,
pretty
footwear is
fire.
probably like next, I think. Yeah, and we're having some conversations right now to see like to make that happen.
So
Yeah.
everything. So you're sticking to the theme of applying Korean.
Yeah,
aesthetic.
yeah, in some way, yeah, an aesthetic or like a concept. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a obvious design, like using like like Korean this or whatever.
You guys haven't tapped into women's wear.
We haven't, but
I mean, for runway,
a
you
large
have-
part of our consumer base is women.
And is it kind of like genderless? Like
I mean,
wear?
it's menswear. It's like we
Yeah.
make it for
Yeah.
men, but like, you know,
A lot
nowadays
of our
girls are wearing
customers.
a lot of menswear. You know, so
Yeah.
like,
That's true.
yeah,
Like,
everyone's wearing menswear.
women look better.
They
in
do,
menswear.
man.
They
Women
do
look
so
way
much
better
better.
than men all the time. Yeah, no
In
matter what.
menswear, it's
In
like
menswear, they look, yeah.
yeah, because like I'll see, you know, especially when you go out to Seoul, and,
Uh-huh.
and I think like a lot of girls in the subculture they wear men's streetwear. You
Yeah.
know, they look so fire, and I'm like, I buy that same fit. It's like I
No,
don't
it doesn't
fit
look the
into
same on you.
that.
no.
Yeah.
If a girl wears it, it looks way tighter than when a dude wears it, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Wait,
What's that?
goddamn, there's a like, I'm just it's just mad.
Does that
hungry.
happen usually?
Yeah. What it is like there's like a street right here you're trying to make a left on, and it's like you can't make a left during a certain like time frame, but
What?
no one sees that sign like you can't make a left here between these hours. So the guy just thinks you can wait there and make a left on, and everyone back behind them is like, read the sign. It says 4 to 7. No, you can't do that.
Yeah, LA with the driving thing's another, like, you gotta drive everywhere.
Yeah, there was a parade yesterday from K-Town to downtown. It took me over an hour.
Yeah, you said you guys you prefer Seoul traffic over Los Angeles.
Nah, they're both whack.
Yeah.
They suck, dude. Traffic sucks.
It does. I mean,
But my Uber bill's been crazy. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah, I know. We gotta.
I gotta get a whip. if
no,
I can.
taxi situation is more expensive in Korea
Nah, man, I don't think so. Is it?
than Uber out here. I think so.
But in Seoul, like, we're not really traveling far distances. You know, like we stay like
we just
north
stay
of
in
the
same area
river.
all the time. We stay in
Yeah,
Itaewon.
Itaewon pretty much.
Your offices are in an interesting place in Seoul, right?
Yeah, it's kinda
We're,
in the
by
mountains.
like, up
What's
north.
the
It's
area
called
like?
Pyeongchangdong.
And
Yeah.
and it's like a very art gallery area.
Yeah, a lot of
right?
art gallery, like old money people up there. It's like very almost secluded, like from the rest of the city.
Was
It's
there
like beautiful up there.
reason
yeah.
to kind of get an office in that section?
We were looking for offices, and we met this guy who like owned. He owned some galleries up there, and he had like an empty building. And then we were just like, "Yo, we're looking for a space." And he's like, "All right, come in."
That's tight.
That's literally what
Yeah.
happened.
And then
Yeah.
you guys had off the places you guys had the offices before was what's that area where it's like all the traditional stuff?
Original. Yeah, that was a government
That was a
sponsored
government
office.
thing. That's when.
Oh
like,
wow.
Dude, we were working out of coffee shops for like the first 2 years in our apartment, and then we got like this government spot that was like sponsoring startups or whatever, and it was mostly all tech companies.
Yeah.
We're the only fashion brand in there.
Oh wow, that's
But
cool.
we just like applied for it, and we happened to get it, so we got like we're there, and then we've been in our new spot for like what 4 years now.
Almost 4 years, yeah.
So like that was like our first official studio office thing. Yeah. Before that, it was all. Like,
Coffee shops and stuff.
Where do you like where fashion's going in Korea?
Yeah, man. There's so many dope brands now. Like way more than ever, I think. And
And the
but-
following's crazy. We went to that new season. What was it? The event was like just a viewing of what the next season is gonna
That was
look
just
like.
never that. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the streetwear thing.
and
yeah.
that was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
It wasn't like nothing was for sale.
I know.
Yeah, just like a viewing of the next you saw like all the youth there, the kids, like the lineup, like it's insane.
They were literally going. They were huge lines. You go in, there's huge warehouse, and kids are taking pictures of things like, okay, I'm gonna buy this
Later.
next month.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Preparing themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, but now more than ever, there's definitely like
Uh-huh.
so many dope Korean brands. I think. Yeah.
And I think now it's just the beginning of like Korean brand awareness. You know, like
Yeah, the
people are
creative
just
culture's
starting to
booming
hear
out
about
there.
Korean brands
Yeah.
now, like globally.
Right.
So
Yeah, you think there's that interest in buying a brand because it's from Korea? Like people here. Are they searching
Maybe-
that up? You know, the way they
I don't
would
know.
search up like a European brand, or
I'm
like
sure some
Yeah.
people
or
are.
Japanese,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Japanese brands like that. Like
Yeah,
people would be
right.
like, "Oh, this is Japanese brand." There's something that already comes with
Right,
that
right.
idea,
I don't,
right?
I don't think that is there yet with Korea, but I think it's starting now. You know what I mean? Like it takes time for people to have that like perception of Korean clothing or Korean fashion the way that Japan did before, like Paris or whatever. So like, yeah, I think I think Korea it's like a good time because everything's booming right now. It's all starting, so like the conversation we're gonna have about Korean fashion or whatever, like maybe 10 years is gonna be completely different.
For sure.
Yeah.
Is there an artist that you were very surprised that had your clothing on?
Had a clothing on.
Had some IISE shit on? You saw in a picture. You know, it was like Donald Trump or something. Like,
Yeah, Trump rocked our SS19. He was pretty lit.
yeah, I
don't
mean,
know.
because at this point, you guys have seen your stuff on a lot of K-pop artists.
Yeah, all the rappers, the K-pop
it's-
people.
Yeah, in terms of Korea, yeah, like a lot of rappers and K-pop people.
Any artist that you were kind of like surprised? You know,
not
and maybe an
surprised 'cause, like, they
American
hit us
artist?
up to get it. Yeah, American artist. I don't know.
And we had this one like opportunity where like the tour manager for the Migos and Drake like emailed us like, yeah, we want some pieces.
oh
of this
wow, just
style.
out the blue or what?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you know
but-
Migos and Drake went on tour or whatever.
Yeah.
So we got an email from the stylist saying like, oh, that we want to dress Migos and IISE, and I was like, we were like, obviously, what the hell? But then we thought it was fake,
Yeah.
because it was like, this is so random,
Yeah, and the flyer looks so janky.
Yeah, like he sent us like a flyer of the tour, like this doesn't look
You're
real.
like, yeah, right, buddy.
Yeah, 'cause those kind of scams happen a lot. Like people
Right.
have it. Like one guy was like, hit us up, like, yo, we're doing a shoot with Travis Scott, Kim Kardashian, Kanye in Japan, like that.
that's
Can you guys
true.
send like that?
I could imagine motherfuckers just trying to get some free gear.
Yeah, like
right?
We were about to
we
send them a
we
big box,
Yeah,
you
we
know,
get a
and
lot of
we
those
would've lost
emails.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So then with this Migos thing, we thought it was fake, but then it turned out to be real. It was
Yeah.
fucked up.
Oh, so you guys didn't respond or anything?
I mean, it was like it was also a timeline schedule thing, but like
Mm.
if we didn't think it was fake, we definitely would have pushed it more a little bit. But like that's like one example.
So how do you navigate that? Like if somebody is like somebody you want to work with, you will send them a box.
Yeah, for sure.
100%,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, if they hit us up,
All the scammers, y'all listening? No, I'm playing.
now if we know them or like you know who's like legitimate or not, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, you've had your stuff on a lot of the big artists in Korea, right?
yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is there like importance in you making sure it's like on a lot of the artists that are shifting culture from out there too?
Yeah, of course, man. Like, if in any country, I guess. Like, but yeah, it's important for us for like Korean people in Seoul, especially, to like be fucking with IISE, because our office is based from there, and we are promoting like a Korean thing too, like in a global sense. So
And I think it's cool because like what you said, for a while there is this like section of Korean youth that wasn't embracing. It's weird. Korean youth, they embrace the traditions of Korea. Like if they're drinking, people are still using two hands.
Yeah,
you
right,
know?
right.
But then not necessarily in the cool sense of
yeah,
it.
right.
You
Yeah,
know?
there was that whole struggle for us too. It's like, are Korean people gonna like Korean inspired things? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because I think there's been tons of examples where like people try to flip Korean things and just didn't hit that way.
What do you think? What's
Well, because like
There's been brands before.
there's been
that,
brands before
you
us
know.
that tried on Korean inspired things, but it just didn't translate well to like in a fashion context, or it was kind of like lame, or like it was corny the way they did it. But I think what's different about us is like we came to Korea and then we saw Korean things come up from a completely different lens, because like for like mainland local Koreans, they grow up around this Korean stuff. They appreciate it differently than we do. Same way when they come to America, they might think like this part about LA is sick, but like if you grew up here, like nah, that's just like some regular.
That's
shit.
true. I think it's just about kind of taking your own city sometimes for granted, or your own
for
culture.
sure.
for
Right.
granted.
So for us, it was like completely new. So like I think the way that we presented our version of that was like different and interesting to people. So like that was like.
I think it has a big part that since Korea is so traditional, like a lot of the big corporations and stuff, or have their older people behind it, and I think they're getting a little bit more lenient about doing collaborations. Whether it's like
sure.
Samsung or LG wanting
I mean,
to
they're
do
seeing
stuff
the
with
power of the younger generation now. In terms
Yeah.
of like
Is that something
influence
y'all
on the
are
thing.
interested in? Would you do a collaboration with like a Samsung or LG
Dude, we're open to collaborate with like.
or BYC?
I mean, if the deal and the project is right, yeah. Actually, BYC was something we were thinking about for a long time.
That'd be
Yeah, we
fire.
love.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm like, all right, we're
Are
gonna
they
talk-
still around? Or what is
They're
it?
still there,
They
but it's
are.
not like it's not like
No one talks
No one
about
talks
it.
about it.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
gotta do all the collabs, bro. Like Jinro, you know.
Yo, General stick too, yeah. But
Yeah.
BYC is actually we've been talking about BYC for a minute. But like
Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna hit. Like for Korean Americans, it's like yeah, that's tight.
So
but I don't know.
BYC is like, is it undergarments?
It's like Hanes. It's like the
It's like
Hanes
Hanes.
of Korea,
Hanes.
Fruit of the Loom.
But
of
they
Korea.
do like underwear and like tank
wife
tops,
beaters,
wife
and, like,
beaters.
tank
Yeah.
tops. yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, is wife beaters a problematic word now? I
I
don't
don't know. What do you
Oh,
call
yeah, I
it?
remember Donnie tweeted that
Like
a couple
a
days
tank
ago.
top? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Tank top.
No, actually, I tweeted.
Oh, you
first
tweeted
of
that?
all. Yeah, okay. No, but it is a very soft tank top.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of tank top. It's not a wife beater. It's
Yeah,
like
but anyway, BYC is Hanes. Pretty much.
Yeah.
What are you talking about tank top? But
and you guys aren't citizens of Korea,
oh, we're dual.
We're dual citizens.
Yeah, we're dual.
dual citizens. How does
Yeah.
that work?
We have dual citizenship.
Yeah,
we
we
got like
have two passports,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Damn, I slept on that one. I think. I think I could have been a dual.
Yeah, I think that window's closed now, probably.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
damn. Yeah, if I try to get one, I'm gonna have to go and serve,
True.
which I'm proud to do. um, but that's what's up, man. So when are you guys planning to make this move? If you guys come out of here
Probably in a year.
Yeah.
within
We're-
a year.
Yeah, we're gonna come out like a couple more times within next year, just to like, cause I have no idea where I'm gonna live in LA. We have no, we know where like the office is gonna be, probably downtown somewhere, but like in terms of finding a place, all that kind of stuff, we don't know.
Yeah, we
anything
still
about
have to
the city.
figure a lot
Yeah.
out
Yeah,
before we
we'll
make
come
the
out
move.
more,
You
yeah.
know.
Where would be a place that you guys still have a little bit of Korea yet?
I'm a- Dude,
It's
if we
so
if we
branded.
like move from Seoul to come to K-Town, that's just like, come on, bro. we
Actually,
gotta go somewhere else.
there is a lot of Koreans who do that, and I have
I'm
this
sure.
theory because I've gone to Koreatown coffee shops and restaurants, and some of the workers are not up to par. I gotta say, I have
With
this
what?
theory: we send each other, we send the worst versions of Koreans to
It's
each
like a
other's
trade.
places. It's like a trade. It's
cultural
like a
exchange.
draft. It's a
Yeah.
cultural exchange. Like for instance, like I know if I was fucking up in America, my parents be like, "We're sending you to Korea."
Actually, mad people do that though, which is
Yeah.
why some Kyopos get a bad rap in Korea. to be
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
saying all, so don't. I'm not
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
offend anybody. I'm
Yeah.
just saying there's situations where
No, we definitely seen a bunch of that in
yeah.
our travels.
I mean, it's tight because I feel like Kyopos have made a huge impact in Korean subculture out there, right? In music,
in pockets, yeah,
in
music,
fashion,
food especially though. I think
Yeah.
they introduced a lot of like Western food to
in
Korea.
fashion. Actually, I would say there isn't as many Kyopos.
We might be the only ones, to be
Yeah,
honest.
we don't know any other.
And that's
Korean
interesting
Americans.
because in music you have a lot. For those listening, Kyopos are foreigners, or
Koreans
like
born
Koreans
abroad.
born-
Koreans
abroad.
born abroad,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like just foreigners. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you're specific Korean, like you could be Korean American, Euro Korean, or
yeah,
whatnot.
right.
And you move. There's a lot amongst in Korea who've moved out there and to kind of pursue different trades and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But in fashion, in music, there's tons. Like
Tons.
J Park, Jesse, Drunken Tiger.
Yeah, yeah.
Even like OG K-pop groups who are kind of the
Word.
Teddy from
Yeah,
Black
right.
Label, YG, all of them who started the whole shit.
Yeah.
And in fashion, I haven't seen much of that.
Yeah, because music, there's so many opportunities, like, for, like, Kyopos to come out there and, like, make music together and, like, because they have sensibilities from, like, Western music, too, But there are no, like, special, like, lanes or opportunities in fashion, I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
we're
like-
the only
I
other.
think we're the only ones.
yeah.
I think, yeah. to
Well,
be honest.
probably because that you guys have chosen to as that aesthetic and
Yeah,
theme.
yeah.
For
Right,
sure.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting, though. It's kind of only in music, I feel like, right? And food, pretty much, so far, from what we've seen.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys are pioneers, man. Congrats.
The first ones.
First ones, 'cause
Paving
no one
the
else
way.
wanted to do it.
And no one else is going to do it, I don't think, for a minute, right? Like, why? I don't know.
Nah. People will do it if it's lucrative.
Yeah, if it's lucrative, but like starting a business in a foreign country is like so difficult.
Yeah, I mean, a lot
That
of
is
Korean
difficult.
Americans are starting brands like stateside or
Yeah,
like from
stateside,
other
yeah.
countries like in Europe, or whatever.
Right. But like, why go out?
But yeah, why go all the way out to Seoul to like
Yeah.
And
Just
you
have a hard
realize,
time.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
and you realize that conducting business there is a lot different from America, right?
so
100%.
different, man.
What is it? Is it the way you talk to people?
Yeah,
or-
dude, the whole culture is different. The way,
Mm.
yeah, communication, like America's so upfront when we talk in a business meeting. It's like boom, boom, boom. This is what we want to do. Da da da. How do we do it? Let's get it done. Korea, there's like a certain language and a certain way of going about communicating with like an older person,
right,
or someone from a company. It's like a lot more formal. Like,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of like walls you have to break down before you get to like the meat of it. You know?
Is there a lot of courting in a separate way too, like dinner
buying a
meetings or
drink.
grabbing drinks? Like, is that
I mean,
really part of the
there's, like,
culture or
there's
not?
less of that with like the younger people, you know what I mean? Like when we work with like older, like, you know, or corporate companies, something like that, it's like there's definitely some of that stuff. But like
Right.
with younger people, it's chill. It's like kind of like here, you just come to the
Yeah.
studio, you just chop it up. Da,
With
da, da,
older
yeah.
people, it's about 33 bows, and then
Like
younger
100 bows,
people.
you gotta do like the 2-hand like business card thing. And
I noticed
Yeah.
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like business cards
thing.
still live on strongly over
yeah,
there.
but it's not out. It's like more of like a
The cultural thing. It's a
cultural
habit,
custom
yeah.
that's never died. Like
Yeah.
it's,
Right.
But business card is such a
so
thing.
do you
that
collect all the business cards?
I take a photo and I just like toss it or something like that. 'Cause, dude,
Yeah, we have
I like
boxes of-
boxes of it,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's crazy because it's weird to think that business cards are still a thing in the States too, you know?
It's weird. They gotta move on from that. They gotta figure something out.
Yeah, that's what's killing the Amazon more than the fires. I feel like Asian business cards.
Wait, what were we just talking about before the business card thing? I'm blanking.
What-
Post,
yeah,
like-
the traditional how you court
Oh yeah.
business.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Right. But yeah.
Was there anything you were gonna add to that?
No. I
Okay.
just like totally lost my train of thought. But
All right.
yeah, but I don't see any reason. Like for us as a brand, this is what I was gonna say. Yeah, for us as a brand, like doing Korean inspired things, like we knew we had to be in Korea and live the culture and
Yeah.
live there
Yeah.
to authentically do something that was Korean inspired. You know,
You're just gonna appropriate your own.
that's what I'm saying. Like
culture?
we wanted to like actually we have to move here to start this because like how are we gonna do a Korean inspired band? We don't even live in Korea, like, you know.
Right.
So it's like where are you gonna draw this inspiration? Where are you gonna have access to like these arts and like these fabrics or these techniques when you're like in New York, where there's none of that, you know.
Right.
So that was like a move we had to do. So I guess like it does make sense for people to like from America to move to Asia or whatever if they need to be in tune with the culture there, like on the ground level.
And that's why you're still, when you move here, you're still gonna have that foot there. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Sure,
We're just
yeah.
expanding LA. We're still gonna spend half the year in Asia, half the year LA. Yeah.
Well, we hope to see some more Koreatown collaborations in itself because that seems like its own subculture now.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on.
Yeah, all the collabs, we're gonna have a lot more pumping out in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
next like
Yeah,
year.
I feel like you guys. That's not in the section necessarily that you guys were interested from the jump. You know.
I mean, we were, but we're just kind of low key and like very selective with who we work with. But now
it's
that
access.
yeah, it's access too. But now as the brand like continues to grow, like we're getting approached by brands that we really want to work with, you
Yeah.
know, and it makes sense for us to work with them.
How is the working relationship between siblings? Like you guys have done. I mean, you guys have. I'm curious about that
Yeah.
because I took my younger sister on tour one year.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were on the road for like 30 cities. And
How's
she was
that?
my merch girl, and you know, and I was a little bit harsh to her, like as an older brother too.
Yeah, no
and a
doubt.
boss.
Right,
You know,
right.
so she was like not trying to. She was like, I'm never doing
Yeah,
this
yeah.
again. She like.
Honestly, there's not a lot of people that can work with their siblings. I don't think.
Yeah.
There's a few, right, that we know of, right, but then like the Yeti Boys,
Yeti Boys,
like,
yeah.
Tim and Dan, like
Has that changed? Like, was it tougher in the beginning, or
Dude, we fought like crazy. In the
Oh, you did?
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, we're only like a year apart, and we grew up together with all the same friends all the time. So like, there was never a big feeling of like, oh, he's like 10 years older
Right,
than me or
right,
whatever
right.
like that.
That does
But
make it a
in
little
the
bit
beginning,
easier.
like when you're trying to figure out your role in the company, there's egos involved. Like, we fought a lot. Like,
yeah,
all
there's
the time.
that, and also just us being in a completely different country, trying to start a business with no money, like all the stress, the external stress we had, like we would take out on each other.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
like,
so
the first 2 years, like broke, like eating like ramen all the time, like
Yeah.
just, like fighting and stuff. But like, the good thing about working with a sibling though is like you can't leave each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have to kind of stick through it because
and there's more of a
Yeah.
trust level, right?
yeah,
For sure,
100%
for sure.
trust level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it's kind of there's like those benefits to a working, but like we fought all the time, like.
Right.
yeah.
But now we're good. Like we haven't fought about anything serious. And like,
That's one
right.
reason I did, like, I wanted to work with my sister and have her
trust.
part of the business. It was like
Yeah.
the trust,
Mm.
you know, because
Yeah.
there's still, like, with me and her, we might fight, but there is this kind of unconditional love and trust we have for each other.
Because you have to make up.
Yeah,
no
at
matter
the end
what.
of the day, you're
Yeah.
still siblings.
Or your
you
mom's
know,
gonna be so pissed at you. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, yo, come on, like, do your thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Our parents would like get so mad if we fought. You know what I mean? So it's like ingrained. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, and you guys also have learned to know what each other's roles
Yeah,
are.
right.
It's completely separate now.
Now it's separate.
Yeah.
Before
It
we try
is.
to do things together. Oh, let's design this jacket together. Like, let's do it here. Now it's like that. That's when we fought. Like, we try to figure out things together. Now it's like he does this, I do this. He has
That
his,
makes it a lot.
He has his team, I have my team, and we obviously meet in the middle. That's how I gotta do it.
That's what's up. Yo, I'm going to wrap this up,
Yeah.
but let me just say IISE is available in certain boutiques in America. American Rag on La Brea. And
Bodega.
We're gonna be at Bodega next season.
Bodega next
Yeah.
season. That's in downtown,
Yeah.
right? Or-
It's on the row. In the row. The row.
the row, yeah.
yeah.
And then is it available in New York as well?
Yeah, we have a couple accounts in New York. They can just go to our stockist page and just
Yeah,
find a
on our
list of
website.
where we're
What-
all.
Just IISE, IISE
.co.
Yeah.
That's our website.
.co.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, I rock the gear all the time. A lot of our homies do, and we don't just ask for the free swag. Yeah, we buy it. We buy it at a high friendship discounted price. But yo, thank you guys for coming on the show.
appreciate it, man.
I think
Thanks.
this is besides Bobby Hundreds, you guys were like the other fashion group, and I didn't dive into like the fashion stuff
Yeah,
with
that was,
Bobby,
like, a
but
cultural
this is kind of I did want to kind of jump into it a little bit
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think the show is all about like kind of inspiring younger cats too,
Right.
who kind of share the similar experiences of being either Korean or Asian or
Yeah.
whatnot, or a person of color, But yeah, man, thank you. I'm
Thank
here
you,
with
bro.
Terrence and Kevin Kim from IISE. Yee! Tune in next week for another episode of Fun with Dumb. Hey.